What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants, no hate. I just dropped a video. It's uploaded already. About Demetrius Andrade wanting to fight Billy Joe Saunders. Let me do this real quick, and then I'm going to head home. I'm doing this for y'all. I want to get these videos out because by the time I get home, I got so much to do. It's 10:22 at night right now, and by the time I get home, about to go get my second workout in. Eat something light. Hit the sack, got to get up in the morning and do some things. So let me get this out to the family now. I just want to bring something, to your attention, and I know that you guys are aware of it, but a lot of times people don't think about it. You're going to hear a lot of people, use, two terms. These are probably the most overused terms in boxing. One, cherry pick. Two, he ducked. Let me explain something that I think a lot of people don't think about, okay? Because we have so many fighters, even fighters, not just bloggers, not just the fanboys that like to always put their 2 cents in. Anybody. A lot of times people are bitter. A lot of times people, they just have a certain train of thought that whatever they feel, they just think that, it's the same old story all over again. And they, start categorizing people, okay? Here's a reality. As a fighter, you know what we like to do? We like to fight. We like to punch people in the mouth, okay? We like to punch people in the ribs and knee them and elbow them and slam them to the ground. That's why we fight, because we like the combat, okay? Now, we also like to get paid. So for those who are doing it and getting paid, okay, it's not called prize fighting just because that was the only name they can come up with. And you got to understand something. Boxers have no pension. They have no insurance or anything through any organization, through any sanctioning body that has anything to do with boxing. You pay out your pocket. However, whatever form of income you have to get insurance, nobody takes care of you. Okay, when you need a surgery, something happens and you need to be taken care of medically, the WBC, the WBA, Bob Arum, nobody is going to come out their pocket, and they don't pay your insurance. They don't get any of that. Okay, they don't get social security. They get nothing from boxing like that. So all the money that you can make, you need to make it now. So you don't have to be a fighter who's 45, 46, 47, and you've been boxing since you were, a small kid, and you're still in there taking punishment. You're not the same fighter, but guess what? You need money. And that's all you have. Every boxer can't be a commentator, Every boxer is not going to be a trainer. Every boxer is not going to have something other than boxing. Most boxers, that's all they have is boxers, right? So to be honest with you, I feel like it's disrespectful when people just constantly make video after video after video after video, just trashing fighters, but yet claim you love boxing. So basically, we're the judges. So what happens is you judge everybody, and whoever you like is legit. Whoever you don't like is not legit. And anybody else who like those fighters that you don't like don't know what they're talking about. They don't know shit about boxing, and they basically are not legit. You don't respect other people's opinions. You think that whatever your opinion is a fact, and that it should just be accepted and respected. But then you're calling fighters trash and saying that fighters are scared to fight each other. But at the same time, what a lot of people forget, boxing is a business first. I can care less how entertaining something is to you. When it's a business, it's a corporation, it has a machine behind it, okay, especially multi-million-dollar machines, it's a business. Business comes first. And I've said this in other videos, and I know what I'm talking about. This is not me just making up shit and guessing, okay? There's many times fighters want to go at it. Promoters are like, look, man, I know you want to fight. This is not necessary right now. This guy right here is dangerous. You're dangerous. And I have all the faith in you that you can beat this guy. But do you understand, this guy doesn't sell. This guy is not on the same level that you're on, and he's not on the level that you're trying to get to. That guy is the money guy. And even though this guy would probably kick that guy's ass, that's where the money is. Go get that money first. If this guy is still around when we finish our mission, our goals, then we make it happen. We don't, change plans because he's out there calling your name and you got fans talking shit and saying whatever. We're fighting, okay, to make sure that after boxing is done, you and your family is fine. And you know what the fighters have to understand too? The promoters are going to promote far longer than you can fight. The fans need to understand that shit. So people don't think like that. And this is reality. Okay? Most fighters end up broke after boxing. Everybody's not an accountant. They don't know how to manage money. They don't have skills to be a real estate agent or whatever. They're not going to school for something. They're boxing. They're trying to make their money. But when you start jumping to, it's like every time somebody snap a finger, you're supposed, oh, that's the fight, that fight, that fight. I mean, if you listen to most people talk, listen how selfish and how unrealistic we can be. When you start calling fighters out saying if he's all that, he should fight him and him. Some fighters, we think they should fight every single fighter in the division and keep fighting and keep fighting and keep fighting to the point you don't have it anymore. Somebody finally destroys you and now you can retire. But we can all say how great you were and who you fought and determine where your status is in boxing. This is what people do. So, you can have a channel where someone has 100,000 fucking subscribers. You can have another channel where a guy only has 100 subscribers. That guy with the 100 subscribers might be the real deal and tell it like it is. The guy with the 100,000 his channel may look more attractive when they see those numbers and go, oh shit, this motherfucker got a lot of, okay, he's big time. Anything that feels big, people want to be a part of. They don't want to be a part of the growth process. They want to be a part of it once it's big. Okay? That's just life. So when we're talking about fighters and we're talking about this guy is scared of him and he's ducking him and he's not this and he's not, understand something. You have a newfound respect for fighters when you do it yourself and you are a fighter. And don't think because you go in the gym and learn how to hit his fucking speed bag or because you walk around with a camera sniffing up the crack of these fighters' asses trying to get interviews and playing the fanboy for them and cheesing and showing your teeth to try to appease them. That doesn't mean shit about you as a fighter. You're not a fighter. You're a blogger. And I'm not, saying that people don't have knowledge of from studying the fight game and being around it. But I think a lot of times people get a little too mouthy when they're talking directly about these fighters to the point. Now, don't get me wrong. You say what you want to say. And you conduct yourself however you want. As long as it doesn't affect me, okay? But the point of what I'm saying is understand what you're promoting when you do that. What you're doing is you're telling people your narrative as if this is the actual facts of what this person is and what they aren't. And people that are persuaded by that shit, that they believe that shit, that to each his own. We're not robots. But in all honesty, why in the fuck would these fighters have to be afraid of each other? That's what we get into this for. So we can fight and make that big money. What you got to understand is a lot of guys hold titles, but their name don't hold any weight. And a lot of that shit is a waste of time. So when a fighter is like, nah, I'm not interested in fighting this guy right here. You know what? I want that guy. Why? He has a much bigger name and he has a bigger audience. That right there is the kind of fight I want. I don't want to fight this guy right now because fighting him does nothing for me. Now, if it's about collecting belts, it's about unifying the division, yeah, you do what you got to do to get those titles. But at the same time, people don't always respect it. Look at how AJ did it. If you beat the unified champ, then you beat the unified champ. But initially, look at how AJ did it. AJ got every title one by one. Now, if you beat the one guy that holds, if you beat, the undisputed champion, then you earned those belts. But AJ did it the hard way. He had to go one fighter from the next to get their titles. And even though he did that, you still had people saying that Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury was better than AJ. Even though Tyson had nothing but an invisible title, Deontay had one belt and AJ had 3. Well, four if you count the IBO, but he had the three other major titles, and he did it one fight after another, and people still shot him down for that. They shoot down people, pick and choose who they want to cheer for, who they don't want to cheer for. Like for example, for every fighter, like I'll give for every fighter that's being said is ducking someone, right? Or for every fight that some say they don't want to see, there's some who do want to see. There's some who don't see that person as a ducker and see the fighter that you claim to be the one nobody wants to fight as a ducker. So it's all pointing fingers. It's like being religious. 4,200 recorded religions, but everybody just picked the right religion. No, your religion, your people, you misinterpret the Bible. No, you misinterpret the Bible. They misinterpret the Bible. My religious beliefs are perfect, and what I believe is the truth. This is all this is. This is what everybody sounds like to me. Everybody's making these claims. Well, look, I said this, and I asked questions because I want you to see the logic. If you say anybody ducked anybody, right? Like for example, we talking about Canelo. I said, well, why did Canelo go and fight old washed up Kovalev? Why didn't he fight Benavidez? And why is it that he said he was leaving 175? That he just came to get that accomplishment. That's what Canelo said, right? And then all of a sudden, when Benavidez got stripped of his title, Canelo put his name in the hat to want to be one of the guys to fight for that title. Oh, let's get another accomplishment, get that under my belt, and guess what? It was easy work against a fighter who had no business being in the ring with Canelo. And that shit was like, nah, not Canelo. No, not you. Now, I'm just saying. Now, is that not a logical question? You didn't fight Benavidez. You fought Kovalev. And then you jump back down to come back down to 160, 168, or whatever it is, wherever you were supposed to be fighting at now. But then when that same title at 175 was vacated, you was willing to go back up and fight for it. Yeah, easy win against an easy opponent. Guess what? Oh, he's won another title. Of course. Now, I'm just saying, and I'm not saying he ducked Benavidez or whatever, and I know what it looks like. I know what it sounds like, but at the same time, it's like all I'm saying is the fight didn't happen. And I'm telling you what he did, and that's a fact of what he did. Why did he do it? Well, I'm not trying to figure that out. Like I said, I don't do the soap opera theatrics. I don't care to go through all of this and he did this and he should have did that. No, I'm just saying it's easy to point fingers at people. Like there's a thing too where if you're a PBC fighter, people hate you because you're a PBC fighter. If you're a matchroom fighter, then PBC fans hate matchroom fighters. It's all of this is so stupid, man. We need to be more celebratory when it comes to boxing and in life in general. And be more supportive. It's just like, for example, when I'm saying that Deontay Wilder needs to improve on his skills, I'm saying that because Deontay Wilder needs to improve on his skills, not because I hate Deontay Wilder, I don't like it. No, I would love to be able to see him have some skills with that power. It would be way more exciting to watch two guys go at it and you don't know who's going to win, and this dude has more than one way to finish you off. So that's all that's about. It's not about, I don't know Deontay. Like I said, I might meet that motherfucker one day. Deontay might be the coolest motherfucker in the world. I don't know that. It's not about disliking anybody. I'm just honest. How many times have I told you there's fighters that I like as fighters, but there's things that they do that I see is a setback for them, or not the best thing that they should do. But hey, everybody do what they do. I'm not one of those guys that sit up and bitch and moan and complain and act like what they're doing is affecting me, because it's not affecting me. I'm just talking about it. That's what we do. We talk about it. But at the end of the day, just think about it, man. It's not easy being a fighter. Fighter is brutal. Fighting is brutal, man. You have to fight even when you're hurt. Not so much injured, but hurt. You have to fight through pain. You're not, most fighters are never really 100%. Now, when we say that don't mean that you have an actual injury. Like your arm is fractured or some shit. No, common sense. I'm not saying that, right? But what I'm saying is sometimes people have lingering injuries, like Kell Brook. Some people have lingering injuries that they have to get therapy for it, and then they'll feel good for a while, and then in training sometime, the week of, that lingering injury comes back, stuff like that. And that's so often. So fighters, that have brittle hands, break their hand all the time, or their hands swell up real bad. Things happen. Hamstring injuries. How many times have you seen a fighter in the ring fighting and have like a brace on his knee? Some type of, it happens. So, we don't know what people go through even in their personal lives. And it's easy to talk and say shit. It's like going to work for, you go into the office one day and your mom just died. And then after your mom died, you went to the funeral, and then your father died 2 days after this, shit like that. And they're telling you, hey, look, I'm sorry about your mother and your father, but you got to leave that outside. When you come in here, you got to be professional. Like, that's just easy. All right, you're like, fuck mommy and daddy, man. It's about this. No, everything is not as easy as said. People, we're humans. People go through shit, man. People go through shit. At the end of the day, if we can't respect the fighters, but we keep talking about boxing and how boxing could be great, how it should be, and well, stop bashing boxing. Stop bashing boxing. Stop bashing the fighters. Understand that everybody is not going to win every fight. Everybody's not going to hit a home run every fight. Every fight, you're not going to look exactly the same. Soon as somebody have a bad, somebody's looking good, they're looking spectacular, they're looking great, they're looking fantastic. They have one bad night, or not even a bad night, just that night they don't look exactly the same. What's the first thing everybody says? Oh, he was exposed. We call Muhammad Ali the greatest, right? Look at how many fights Ali had where he had lackluster performances. Or, you just act like those performances didn't happen. Ray Leonard, Ray Robinson, every one of them had fights where they didn't look their best in those fights. And it's not because the opponent was so great. They just didn't look good that night. At the end of the day, we have to be more respectful to boxing itself. And as fighters, we should be more supportive. We should have far more camaraderie. My channel is not to break fighters down and disrespect them and discredit them. Don't get me wrong. There are fighters that's just shit fighters. Simple. And those fighters make a lot of noise and talk a lot of shit, but and then they go in here and they lose. But at the same time, it's like we keep dwelling on the things that's negative instead of making it positive. We watch two guys go in there and fight. We hope nobody gets hurt seriously. And then at the end of the day, hey, guess what, man? Great fight. Hey, we can sit back and rewind that shit and watch it a million times as much as we want to and enjoy boxing. That's what it should be about. So anyway, just wanted to say that to y'all because, there's a lot of people that just don't get it, man. Boxing is not easy. Like we always say, you play basketball, you play football, you play soccer, you don't play boxing. People die in that ring. So it's really easy for you to sit down or at your little computer and talk like you're highly intelligent and you know everything about every fighter and every situation and what you would do if it was you. But you know what? You're not in those situations. And if you was, you don't know how you would handle it until it happens. So stop feeling yourself so much to the point where you're talking, being disrespectful, calling fighters. I'm talking like every fighter that you're the judge and jury of who's good and who's not. You want to see fighters develop. That's the whole thing. And that's why I always said, if you're talking about any fighter, and it just so happens that you don't like that fighter, you don't like him as a fighter, pretty much everything you say is going to end up just bashing that fighter. And not because they're doing anything to cause that. You just basically, you're locked in on, let's trash this guy. He's not a good fighter at all. Oh, and then because of what the fans are saying, you go into attack mode against these fighters. But then think about it. We can take any fighter and break down something that they didn't do or did do. We can call it a duck. We can say that they cherry picked it. But what does that matter? All I care about is that we get the fights. Like I said, you guys want to play Inspector Gadget and you want to go do your little homework and research to try to try to make a fighter look bad. And what I'm saying, I'm not talking about doing something to expose the truth, to bring the logic and the reasoning out and the truth. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just that hate. Let me sit up and see who I can talk shit about today. That's what I see so many of these channels do. Everything that they talk about is negative, and it's just they're looking for somebody to trash. And they always talking about who's going to beat who. But it's funny, when the smoke clears, and their predictions are wrong, they get as quiet as a mouse and make every excuses, and then they blame the fighter that they was choosing to win. Now, I'm gonna say this before I go. Demetrius Andrade he's a warrior type fighter. So is Jamal Charlo. They fight, may the best man win. At the same time, let me say this: should Jamal Charlo beat him, and not even close decision, could have went either way. No, he clearly beats him decisively, whether it's by knockout or whether it's by decision. Mark my words, Jamal and Jamel Charlo is right now and will be getting the Floyd Mayweather treatment. No matter who they beat, it's not good enough. Oh, he won't beat this one. He beat that guy. Oh, he won't beat that one. He beat that guy. Oh, he won't beat him. You understand? Oh, he ducked him. He fight him and then beat him. Well, he still ducked him. It's the petty childish shit. Hey, look, real recognize real, man. Support the realness. We not with this childish petty stuff, you know. Anyway, that being said, look, never fall in love with lies, and remember, the truth brings hate out of people. That's all I'm gonna say on this video. Catch y'all on the next one.